Good afternoon. We will call the meeting to order. This is a special city council meeting for October 29th, 2021. The time is 6:11. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Ronnie Felder.
Here.
Chairperson Shirley Lanier.
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Kashamba Miller Anderson.
Present.
Councilperson Trodrick McCoy.
Here.
Councilperson Douglas Lawson.
Here.
Councilperson Julia Botel.
Here.
City Manager Jonathan Evans.
Present.
City Clerk Claudia Anthony is present. City Attorney Don Nguyen.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We will have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Kashamba Miller Anderson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions for this agenda this evening? There is only one item on here. Are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions? Hearing none, are there any disclosures by the council in regards to this item that's on the agenda? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Councilperson McCoy.
Yes.
Councilperson Botel.
Yes.
Councilperson Lawson.
Yes.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson.
Yes.
Chair Lanier.
Yes.
Motion approved.
There is no consent agenda, and there are no items that are tabled. We will go right into our discussion and deliberation. Discussion and deliberation, Lady March Goldwire versus the City of Riviera Beach, case number 9-18-CV-81285. Do we have a presentation by the city attorney?
Madam Chair, members of the board, we do have public comment on this item. The acceptance of public comment on this item is now closed.
Madam
Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
I didn't call this meeting. I believe you and Dr. Botel did. I have an announcement of a closed session if you all would like that, but
That's
Dr.
exactly
Botel
what it is.
called the meeting.
I would like to hear public comment.
Can we do public comment first? Let's go ahead, Madam Clerk. Let's do public comment first, please.
Dolores Williams, Bessie Brown, Bishop Thomas Masters, Cindy March. This is after it closed.
No, we're gonna, this meeting is to call a closed executive session. This meeting is to call a closed executive session. Yes, ma'am. Yes, go ahead, Ms. Brown.
I know, this is my second time here about this stuff. Are you going to, I'm just saying, are you going to ask for Mr. Stevens's,
You have to speak into the mic, Ms. Brown.
is this good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you going to ask for Mr. Stevens's, attorney fees and I'd like to know if you're going to ask for Mr. Stevens' attorney fees and how much have you paid him and how much are you planning to pay him? And also because you're requesting fees from Lady March's attorney. And I'd just like to know why are you back in here with the closed discussion on this case again. You've been up here about 3 or 4 times. Y'all don't know what to do?
Thank you, ma'am.
Bishop Thomas Masters, Cindy March, Marvelous Washington.
Almost get my toes for this one. Thank you, Madam Chair, to the Honorable Mayor and to City Council and others. I want to make a couple announcements. This is public comment, isn't it?
On this item.
Oh, on this item, okay.
Item, yes.
Okay, I thought you had changed it. Okay, on this item, I know it's been several meetings relating to, and I was just kind of thinking about it, and I'm just wondering if there's any way that this matter could be resolved through mediation or through arbitration by a third party before going any further. That would be helpful, because if it goes to the judge will probably order it if he doesn't first, and then he makes a decision based upon his own whatever of the law. But if it goes to a mediation arbitration first, before, if you decide to take it back to the judge, then at that point. But I'm just wondering if it could possibly go to a third party, or either a mediator or a facilitator, arbitrator, whatever you want to call it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Cindy March, Marvelous Washington.
Good evening. I just want to ask a question. You almost don't know the status of the hotel since you are wannabe a lawyer. It's a conflict of interest in this case. It's not even personal vendetta no more. It's not even personal with me no more. It's stupid on stupid. And you all have been very stupid to hire a lawyer, paying him $600,000. You didn't question his fees, but you questioned Lady March's fees. I will reiterate again. You all hired Don as you all lawyers. Then you all hired a private lawyer. You all need to let them go ahead and do their job, because what you're doing, you're disturbing something that shouldn't even be disturbed. And what's going to happen is going to open up a whole can of worms. And I don't think the city ready for them whole cans of worms, because it's going to even cost more money than what they're asking for now. So if I was you all, when you all go in this closed section for the 4th or 5th time, wasting taxpayers' money, Lanier and Kashama, while y'all don't act like y'all don't understand, because it's personal with Lady. I can't even sit up here and say I'm speaking out for Lady. What if it was you all in the same predicament that she was in? What if it was you all? How would you all feel? You all is not lawyers. Dawn has done an amazing job. I don't even know her personally, okay? But respect is due to anybody. You all begged for this man to come back, Mr. Evans. He came back, okay? He even warned you all to do what you need to do. And you're still not listening to nobody. Why, Lanier? Because you lost your job? Because you can't pass a cocaine test? Okay? You don't falsify time. That's why you don't have a job now. I don't have a job. But I would not make my heart be hardened for someone else because of what I'm going through in my life. Because what goes up, like I've always said, it's going to come down. Why don't you request Stevens itemized invoice, and let's see what's being paid from the insurance company. Enough is enough. The city is tired, and everybody else should be tired that work for the city of Riviera Beach. This has been going on 4 years too long. It's not even personal no more.
Marvelous
Thank you for your
Washington.
comments, ma'am.
Good evening, council, mayor, city manager, city attorney. I just have a couple questions. We're going on our 8th meeting in reference to this, might be 7th or 8th. The last time we were here, there was a discussion about Dr. Botel testifying in this case, et cetera, and the alleged comments that she made that, of course, turned out to be untrue. My question is, due to the fact that Dr. Botel was a witness in the case, she was mentioned in the original complaint, she's been mentioned in the recent motions, why is she not required to recluse herself from the vote? Because personally, if anybody said anything negative about my character, I would take it personal. So and if you were asking me whether or not I want to settle a lawsuit in reference to that person that may have attacked my character, of course I'm going to vote it down. That's why you have Florida statutes. So, but we allow, and I know it's a controversial type of case, but what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and you have to follow ethics. Because when you do not follow the ethics that's provided by the state of Florida, it opens up litigation to the city. Okay, so I want that answer to that question as to why that's not a violation of ethics. I think it's a conflict of interest. I truly do, Dr. Botel, because I don't think you should be able to be a witness in a case, be mentioned in an original complaint. I think you were sanctioned by the governor because of actions that related to this case. and then you get to vote on the settlement of the case, that's not fair to the lawyers that's involved. That's not fair to Stevens, the city attorney. That's not fair to the residents. So there's conflict there, and I understand the atmosphere of the city as of lately. You can't go against one another because you'll get attacked by the goon squad or the squad. But this is just basic Florida ethics statutes. You can look it up, and it's plain in black and white. This is a conflict of interest. Dr. Botel should recluse herself from that. She should have made it known to the residents that she was a witness, which she did. She was called on by the city to testify, and her name was listed in the original complaint. She should have never been able to vote on the settlement. It's only right and it's only fair. Okay, despite whether you like what I'm saying or not, that's according to the ethics and the Florida statute. You guys can take a look at it.
Thank you for your comments.
That concludes public comment, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Could you announce the session, please?
Yes, Madam Chair.
I-
The announce?
I would like to make a statement first, if you don't mind. We are meeting this evening because on October 27th, we received a demand for payment from the plaintiff's attorney. The demand was to pay $60,000 by October 29th, today. Council previously voted to appeal the verdict. We voted that already, done. If that appeal is successful, we would not have to pay this.
Let me stop you right there. We cannot have any, this is a very small building, we just cannot have any crosstalk in the building because someone up here is speaking and we can hear all of that up here.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Dr. Botel, can I just say one thing before you continue? I do realize you come with a prepared statement, but I do truly believe we do not need to have conversations before our closed executive session.
I don't think we need a closed executive session, frankly.
Okay.
Okay. Council previously voted to appeal the verdict. If that appeal is successful, we would not have to pay $60,000. Council did not specify what method the attorney should take to appeal the verdict. Because I was concerned that the city was in jeopardy, because today was a deadline, I requested that our city attorney file a stay of this payment pending our appeal. This afternoon, I was informed by city attorney that, quote, there is no immediate harm to the city. We simply received a demand from the plaintiff. We have the right to contemplate our actions for 30 days. The plaintiff cannot arbitrarily shorten our right to consider filing an appeal. It is not necessary that a stay be filed today, as there is no threat or prejudice to the city. However, I took the time to consult a family member who is an attorney, and she made up a sample appeal that we can file today or tomorrow. Today is a little late, but tomorrow. I will give my colleagues copies of that sample appeal for their information. The plaintiff says she's going to file a writ of execution. I spoke with Dawn Wynn and the attorneys she consulted with yesterday on whether the plaintiff could do it, and Dawn said she could. They said nothing can stop it. They said everyone would be put in jeopardy. Now they're saying that we can stay it at any time. We should file the stay immediately. There was a question about whether the city council will give permission to post a bond. I have been advised that the judge will probably not require us to post the bond. I have, in addition, a letter I sent to Ms. Wynn today, and I'll just quote from it. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 64D provides, if an appeal is taken, the appellant may obtain a stay by supersedeas bond, which takes effect when the court approves the bond. The purpose of the supersedeas bond is to preserve the status quo while protecting the non-appealing party's rights to appeal. It goes on, however, the court may waive the bond requirement where the appellant, quote, objectively demonstrates a present financial ability to respond to a money judgment. I would think that the city has certainly the objective financial ability to, in good faith, respond. So I'm putting it before you that we may not have to, in fact, issue a bond. We should then file a Rule 60 motion followed by an appeal. We should ask the appellate court to stay their action until Judge Cohn decides if he will grant relief via Rule 60. The 11th Circuit Court can relinquish jurisdiction, and that method would be quicker than going through the appellate process first. Tonight's meeting, therefore, is simply to reiterate that our attorneys, reiterate to our attorneys our previous decision demanding that they seek all legal options to challenge the verdict. And I would like to read a little bit further, and this is what I believe to be the basis for the motion to appeal. Governmental purposes in challenging verdict, finding that city published plaintiff's unredacted personnel file online in retaliation for plaintiff complaining of discrimination. And I read this to Ms. Nguyen and the other attorneys on the phone yesterday. In order for the city to train its human resources and other employees who have access to unredacted personnel files of other employees, there needs to be clear parameters and expectations on employee conduct regarding use and protection of unredacted personnel files of employees. Otherwise, statutory rights against unlawful retaliation and privacy rights of employees would be at risk of continuous jeopardy. Additionally, if the verdict and judgment for damages on the retaliation claim were to eventually be upheld and the violation not corrected, the city would also be at an increased and continuous risk of municipal liability. For instance, in actions where a remedy is sought under 42 U.S. Code, Section 1983, for alleged custom of practice of engaging in impermissible employment actions, such as, for example, unlawful retaliation. Such risks, of course, expose the city's taxpayers to undue financial burdens, in addition to non-monetary civic repercussions. The jury's verdict against the city for violating the subject's statutorily protected rights impels the city, as an implied directive of good governance, to take significant corrective and preventative action on the misdeeds found by the jury if, upon full review, there is legally cognizable evidence to support the jury's findings. This motion to relieve the city of the judgment based on the jury's verdict and/or an appeal challenging the verdict are the only vehicles for the courts to provide clarity to the city so it can appropriately address those important issues. Specifically, the city must address the jury's finding if there is legally sufficient evidence to support it regarding its employees' rights to be protected against unlawful retaliation carried out through invasion of privacy rights, to not have confidential information made public by its governmental officials, and of graver concern, employees acting on behalf of the city publish, and of graver concern, if its officials or employees acting on behalf of the city publish employees' unredacted personnel files online and do so in retaliation for or because of the affected employee exercising a right to oppose unlawful discrimination. The city must seek relief from the judgment and order on the retaliation findings by the jury. And in my opinion, we have already given explicit instructions to our attorneys to file those motions, to seek relief, and I don't see the need for having a closed executive session, frankly, to do so.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
it would be my opinion, if I'm permitted, to move to strike everything that was just said by Councilwoman Botel, because simply what it seems that you've taken this independent venture to go and seek legal advice, which just undermines the very purpose of us going into closed session. And more importantly, we get communications and have conversation with our attorney, which is, preference, and I guess all communication starts by saying confidential and privileged, and I'm not sure how we can come up with all of this. And, I appreciate your eagerness, but I just think it's wholly inappropriate because, quite frankly, if what you're saying is true, all of this just became public record, right? And as far as I'm concerned, we don't even need to go into closed session because whatever you've just now proffered to us becomes public record, and there's really nothing to go into closed session for if that's the case. And it just seems like a complete breach of everything that we've been already under the impression as far as attorney-client privilege.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
And it is a motion.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, when she's finished, we'll come back and get a second for your motion, sir.
I think it's very important for our citizens to understand why we are taking this action. We have already voted, this council has already voted to tell our attorneys to seek this relief. The citizens need to, the citizens need to understand that we are at great risk in the future of if this city allows this verdict to stand, as I've said, then we are at risk of having other people in the future say that this agency has a history of retaliation. And we cannot have that. This is less even about the money as it is about protecting the city's reputation and protecting it from some future action by a disgruntled employee.
I'm going to second that motion, Madam Chair.
Follow up.
A motion is on the floor, has been seconded. You want to discuss the motion, sir?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
So let me reiterate, Councilwoman Botel, I understand your concern, but to seek advice and to consult an attorney to come back with a proposed pleading, I don't know how that doesn't negate the very confidentiality that we've been bound by. And then to bring back something at this point, I mean, that really was a surprise. I don't even know what, if anything, we can do with this, and how that even works. I mean, this to me seems that this in itself that you've proffered breaches everything that we've been under since the beginning of this case, which I know at least probably goes back, probably predates us. So that's all I have. And I just kind of was caught off guard with this one.
Thank you, sir. There's a motion and a second on the floor. And could you please restate your motion, sir?
I'm moving to strike this from, I guess, from the record, which I don't know that you can really do at this point. But obviously the purpose is that it should not be considered, because this is this in itself, it's almost like you're presenting evidence that's not permissible. You presented something in the meeting that we were bound and held in confidence for under attorney-client privilege. So, I don't know how you can consult with an attorney to come back with the whole pleading without them knowing specific details. And you can make the argument that the docket is public, but, this to me just seems like this is way outside of our role. And I certainly, wouldn't have an issue if it was happening in closed session, but, it's been publicized, and I can imagine the opposing side is probably sitting here watching, so I might well say hello to them. But, it's just like, this is really, I think, improper.
Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. Give me 1 second. We have speak to the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. And then you'll be next, Mr. Lawson.
So I'm pretty sure we can't strike anything from the record.
Correct.
But I understand your point. And in making that motion, which is why I still feel that we need to not have these conversations like this in the public. We do need to have a closed executive session so that all of this can be discussed without having others on the other side taking this information and then using it against you. I understand your point, Dr. Botel, but I'm not comfortable with moving forward with anything until we have a conversation in closed executive session, get everything laid out, we hear all of the options, hear whatever it is that you would like to share. But this is not the venue to do it. It's just not. It's not.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
members of the board, as you proceed forward, I need a copy of what has been provided to you for the record,
Okay,
because it is now public record.
yes. Go ahead. No, it's Mr. Lawson's turn. Go ahead, Mr. Lawson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to state for the record my position and let the record reflect that I'm adamantly against further dragging out this litigation, closed session meetings, and any other discussion. We received recommendations from our counsel, which I highly trust and have faith in, at the words of some of my colleagues that said that these attorneys did a great job and this was a one case. So now to continue to drag and increase the cost with outside attorneys, to have this appealed, to go into any additional discussion, is a detriment to our city, is going to further insult the integrity of our staff that did an amazing job, and it's going to continue to cost money to our taxpaying residents. So I cannot support anything that continues to drag this case out, and the lingering process just continues to further strengthen the argument that this is a vindictive issue, and I do not want this to be the case or the representation of the city. So I'd rather that we took the advice of our legal counsel that we've hired versus spending additional money to further fight this case.
Thank you, sir. I just want to make a quick statement. The fact that we have been back and forth with this case for a long time here now. And I think that the public does have a right to know why. Why are we keep coming back and forth with this? Why are we having these closed executive sessions? Why are we having these special meetings on a Friday at 6 o'clock? And one of the reasons is because the directions that were given to our council was not followed. It's just simple. So we want to make sure that this issue, which will set a precedent for the city, meaning that 5 years from now, if someone comes back and wants to use this case, it can be used against us if we don't appeal the verdict. It's just that simple. And I don't want to go any further than that with it, but the fact that the public does have a right to know why we are still here with this same case when the city has numerous cases that is on a docket for the city to defend. So I say that to say that the public has a right to know, but we do have a obligation to make sure that every avenue that we have to be able to make sure that the city comes out on the better side of this, we have to take it. We have to be in a position to make sure that this does not cost us money down the road. And that's what this case is about. It is about setting a precedent and coming back 5 years from now, 2 years from now, and saying instead of it's $60,000, it could be $60 million. Because these kind of cases are set up to be able to have no cap on them if you come back like that. So we want to ensure there was a municipality up north that had a opportunity to follow this thing through, to be able to just, okay, you know what, just follow it through, close off all the avenues, and let's be done with it. They chose to settle, they chose to not to fight the verdict, and they had a $50 million judgment against them because of it. And that was 5 years later. So I'm looking at the long term in terms of this case. There is no way in the world that I want to be sitting here on a Friday afternoon at 6 o'clock talking about a case that we've talked about for the last 6 months, unless it was that important to the city and to the residents, and especially the people whose money it is involved in this. So that is why I wanted to be able to have a conversation with the attorneys in a closed executive session so that we can put this to bed. We can move forward with this. But we have to do it the right way so that the city in the long run is not affected by it. And that is my position. You can't, I mean, the attorney said that you couldn't strike Mr. McCoy, so you want to still?
I was looking to see if I could amend to a motion to repudiate that statement, because that really.
But what does that mean?
To basically, repudiate means to deny or, let me specifically.
What? It's her statement and it's public.
But as a body, there is a provision to file a motion to repudiate. Repudiation, let me see here. But you know, I don't have a problem with withdrawing it, but I'm just so confused as how that came up. And quite frankly, I don't even know where to go from here. Obviously, if nobody else has anything else to say, I can withdraw my motion. But Councilwoman Botel, I just don't understand how that's okay. Because if that's the truth, then we might as well just figure out let's get our own private attorneys and do our own thing. Because this, to me, just really was not proper to be presented in that fashion.
Madam Chair.
Let me, he's withdrawn his motion. You withdraw your second, Mr. Lawson? All right, go ahead, Ms. Botel, and we're going to call for this.
I want to say I have not disclosed any client attorney information to the family member that helped me put that together. I explained to her what the case was about, but there was nothing confidential. There's lots of stuff in the public record that anybody could get a hold of. So it's not like I went out and hired my own attorney. I didn't do that. Furthermore, I want to get back to something some accusation that was made in public comment. I was never sanctioned by the governor for anything that had anything to do with this case. Never. So let me put that rumor to rest, because I'm sure it will start floating around in certain spots. The third thing I want to say is that I have absolutely no personal vendetta against anybody. I hardly know the plaintiff in this case. I think I was at a meeting with her once. There is nothing personal about this. This is about saving the city from what could be potential really serious repercussions if we let this verdict stand. And so I just want to go on record as saying There's nothing, absolutely nothing personal about this, except for my personal desire to see what's best for the citizens of Riviera Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead and announce the special session, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. Pursuant to Florida Statute 286.0118D, Public Meetings and Records, and in a desire to obtain advice concerning litigation and litigation expenditures, I am requesting a time that the City Council is available for a closed executive session in the matter of Lady March Goldwire versus City of Riviera Beach, case number 9-18-CV-81285. Outside counsel, along with the city attorney, seeking a closed-door session to discuss litigation strategy and expenditures. I need to know whether or not the council is available. Your options are this coming Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday at 6 p.m. The location would be the Marina Event Center. Just
Yeah,
so you know.
I mean, I'm good for Monday. We need to go ahead and get this moving.
Good for Monday.
The rest of the council, is that okay for you, or you would like another day?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
since we're gonna be here on Wednesday, I was hoping that we can already choose a day that we're gonna be here on Wednesday.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
My only concern about that is that we do have a November 4th deadline.
Oh, yes, we do.
We do, but I spoke to outside counsel, and they're prepared to file whatever they need to file, if that is direction of the council, on November 4th.
Okay.
So
So
if
we-
you would
if we-
like to have it Wednesday at 6 p.m., you can.
What?
Oh.
No, we'll stick with Monday. Is everybody?
I have a question. So if we have the closed executive session on Monday, is there something we need to vote on that would need to be on Wednesday's agenda?
You would give us direction in the closed session.
Okay.
Are Monday okay for you?
Is anybody else going to be in Orlando?
No, I'm not going.
No, Monday will be fine.
Monday's better.
It's okay with the gentleman. We can do Monday so that we can wrap this
I'm
up.
going, but Monday, so Monday's good. I'm not leaving till Tuesday.
Are you all going?
I'm sorry, I think you said if it's okay with the gentleman. It's not okay with me, I mean,
Are-
so does that mean
Okay.
no?
Are you
No,
gonna
I
be
mean,
here?
It's a majority rule, sir. I mean.
I mean, I
But-
guess I don't, it's not okay with the men, so I mean, I guess I don't have a choice.
Okay, all
There's
right.
a question.
Yes.
There is a legislative Florida League thing. Is anybody going other than Botel? Okay, so everybody be here.
Yeah.
I'm fine either way, Monday or
All right,
Wednesday.
Monday is fine. We'll do Monday, 6 p.m., the Marina for the executive session.
Can I continue with the rest of the legal notice?
I'm sorry, yes, go ahead.
Therefore, a closed executive session will be held on the first day of November 2021 at 6 p.m. at the Marina Event Center, 190 East 13th Street, Riviera Beach, Florida. In the case of Lady March Goldwire versus City of Riviera Beach, those persons in attendance will be City Attorney Dawn Nguyen and/or Lionel Busby, Special Counsel Don Stevens of Olsen Stevens, Appellate Counsel Denise Blue and Kenneth Raines of Ward Damon PL, Mayor Ronnie Felder, members of the City Council, City Manager Jonathan Evans. The subject matter of the closed executive session shall be restricted to litigation strategy and litigation expenditures.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Attorney Nguyen, this special meeting, we're going to be paying these outside counsel to attend?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a cost of what we're going to be paying this outside counsel?
I believe Mr. Stevens informed you all that his rate is $120 per hour. The appellate counsel's rate, I believe, is $450 per hour.
$450 per hour?
Yes,
And that, of course, is contingent on how long we're in the special meeting.
correct.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead. We can't have the crosstalk, sorry, people in the audience. We have a council person trying to speak.
So in reference to the hourly, how long were we in the special meeting, the last special meeting?
Hour and a half. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't recall.
So 2 hours? No, it was more than 2 hours.
No.
It was 8:30?
No.
It was maybe an hour and 45 minutes that we were there.
Okay. So if it's close to 2 hours, we're looking at paying outside counsel and Attorney Stevens the cost for being in this special session again. And as Councilwoman Botel stated, the reason for the closed session, we don't really need a closed session if we've given council direction and it's been voted on, correct? Attorney Nguyen.
I don't agree that I have explicit direction and that you all know the expenditures that will be required should we move forward. I would like to present all of the options to you all, so I do recommend a closed session.
So another closed session. That's just going to cost more money to our taxpayers. Okay. Colleagues,
Yes.
that's the issue that I have. Another closed session, and we're bringing in another special counsel at $4.50 an hour. So, oh, I'm sorry, 2 of them. So this is concerning to me, because if it's in the best interest of the city for us to continue to fight the settlement that my own colleague stated was a win for the city, I'm just confused why we're continuing to have the same discussions and we're going into our 6th or 7th meeting about this. So if we're getting new information every week and then having closed sessions, which is also costing us money, I don't think this is in the best interest of the city. A few things that I would want to follow up with Mr. Evans in regards to our HR department, to make sure that we're protecting our employees' data and documentation, and that we're never put in this position again. And I'm sure Mr. Evans has already put that in place. But this discussion we can have after this case is settled, so that it doesn't actually put us in a position to jeopardize this case. Again, colleagues, I'm going to ask that we look to take the recommendation of our counsel and close this case, allow for the city to move forward and begin the healing process, because we're continuing to drag this on. And this is not going to be anything that's implementable for the next 5, 10 years if we close this case out and allow for us to continue to heal and move forward.
Thank you, sir. You have something?
No.
Do we have any public comments? Any just
Not-
general public comments?
Just general public
Do
comment.
we have any of those?
General public comments?
Yes.
Yes, we do, Madam Chair.
Or let's go with those.
Could you read the statement, please?
Oh, yes. Please be reminded, the City Council has adopted rules of decorum, public conduct during official meetings, which has been posted at the front desk. In an effort to preserve order, if any of the rules are not adhered to, the council chair may have any disruptive speaker or attendee removed from the podium, from the meeting, and/or the building if necessary. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Public comment shall begin at 7:30 unless there is no further business of the City Council, which in the event, it shall begin sooner. In addition, if an item is being considered at 7:30, then comments from the public shall begin immediately after the item has been concluded. Any person who would like to speak during public comments, please fill out a public comment card located at the front desk and give it to the staff before the public comment section is announced. Madam Clerk?
Bessie Brown, Bishop Thomas Masters, Cindy March.
Ms. Brown?
Ms. Brown?
Can you hear me?
He's good, but a little bit closer to the mic, ma'am.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we have attorneys here. We have attorneys that we've hired to take care of things that come through the courts. Ms. Botel, you have really just overstepped your bounds. You are going and just ignoring the counsel that we have, and you're just getting your own people and stuff. And can you do that? Can you share that information with someone else? That's the thing that I'd like to know. But you know, and you all need to. This girl has done nothing to anyone, and for anybody to just want to say that what she has won and all of that stuff, and then what she has lost, but your girl said that everything was all done and all that. JB. About a month ago. But basically, you all need to settle this case with Lady March, because she had a right to go to court, and she got a verdict.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
Bishop Thomas Masters, Cindy March, Marvelous Washington.
Thank you. October the 31st, Sunday, is Halloween, trick or treat. It so happens that New Macedonia Church has planned a real treat on that day, the last Sunday, from 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. The real treat is come and get vaccinated, people, period. And if you've been vaccinated, come and get the booster shot, whether it's the Johnson, it's 2 months ago, you're eligible, or the Moderna. The trick is, if you don't get vaccinated, you know what could happen. Perhaps I have preached more funerals than anyone in Palm Beach County, almost to a Saturday. And I can tell you that 98% of the funerals that I personally have done that were COVID-related have been people who did not get vaccinated. So you tell me, trick or treat. I also like to mention that Tuesday is election day. I think it's almost too late to mail your ballots in. Take a chance if you prefer, but it has to be in the election office, either out on military or on PGA by Tuesday, by a certain time. And either go to the offices now or either to the post office. But it's kind of taking a chance if you're going to mail it. However, if you want to get the ballot in and you don't want to get caught up in your ballot getting there a day late, which will not count, you can call us at 561-247-2713. 561-247-2713. That is the same number you can call to just let us know you're coming to get vaccinated. There aren't any appointments that are necessary. You don't have to wait. You go straight in and get it done. Also, I would like to make a moral appeal to the voters of Riviera Beach. I have met with, I think, all of the candidates, and I can tell you personally that I feel that Commissioner Dale Holness is qualified. He has the integrity. He loves the community. He's knocked on the doors. His signs are everywhere. His Congressman L.C. Hastings' son has done a commercial supporting Commissioner Dale Holness. He said his father, this is what his father would want. I don't think that Congressman L.C. Hastings' son would lie on his father. So I'm telling you, trust me on this one. Commissioner Dale Holness, I really feel, is the man that we ought to go with. He deserves our vote. He wants your vote. He's knocked door to door. He's all over the city trying to get all of our votes, and he's a good man. If you can't remember his name, just think of the Holy Bible, the Holy Scripture, the Holy Spirit, the Holy whatever, and you get wholeness. He is a good man, and that's good enough for me. Thank you very much. I think that's it. Councilman Commissioner Dale Holness loves Riviera Beach. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, sir. Okay.
Cindy March, Marvelous Washington, Commissioner Dale Holness, Doretta Polk.
Good evening, council persons again. I was going to come up here and talk about something totally different, but I have to go back to this case again. The fact of the matter is, and I get it, but for councilperson to seek outside counsel instead of speaking with the city attorney or the council that is hired by the city is concerning to me. And I hate to keep bringing up how residents felt when Mr. Evans was involved. Residents wanted him to come back by striking the language that was in his settlement. And some people came up and said that sets a bad precedent for the city. Unfortunately, and fortunately, you guys voted to go ahead and do that because it was best for the city at the time, and it outweighed any previous precedents that would have been set for our city. So you can't pick and choose when you're going to say, oh, we don't want to create a precedent for our city for cases when it's convenient for you guys. I'm really sitting here listening to what just occurred. I'm still dumbfounded because you're saying that you didn't give privileged information to the outside counsel in order to prepare the report that you received, but actually you did, because how can they prepare a statement? How can they prepare how you should move forward without knowing the specifics of the case? Not only that, is that you have people that's requesting public records of this case, and being told that it's a client privilege, that they cannot receive those public records. Due to the fact that the council person has already seek outside counsel and have discussed the specifics of this case, those public records that have been requested now needs to be filled because it's no longer a client privilege in play, because it's already been outsourced by one council member and not spoken with her colleagues to get that approval. It's very concerning to me, and I hate to kind of harp on that, but I really didn't expect this from you, Dr. Patel. I really expected something else. But that was surprising to me, that you have seek outside counsel outside of the city attorney and the counsel that we pay to represent us, that you seek a friend's advice instead of seeking their advice on this case. And it's failed to be known that both of the city attorney, the insurance company, and outside counsel, Attorney Stevens, has recommended for the city to settle this case and to get out of this case and move forward. But unfortunately, this personal vendetta that's been going on for over 4 or 5 years is still going on. And despite the fact you're saying that you don't know who this person is, you still have some ill feelings or personal ill will against that employee.
Thank you so much for your comments, ma'am.
Maybe if we didn't put
Thank you
personal
so much for your
information on
comments,
social
ma'am.
media
Thank you so much for your
about
comments,
that
ma'am.
employee, we
Ma'am,
wouldn't have been found guilty of
ma'am,
retaliation.
please have a seat. Thank you, ma'am.
I will.
Commissioner Bell Holness, Doretta Polk, Mary Brown.
Next.
Doretta Polk, Mary Brown.
Good evening. My name is Doretta Polk, and, excuse you. Good evening. My name is Doretta Polk, and I was just here to mention that I think we probably know why we're possibly here. You all have had several different closed sections, and you all could not get an agreement of what has to be done, but now the revelations have come out possibly that the attorneys were given a directive, and we may have possibly, because in the last meeting it was stated that October 12th we could have gone to appeal that decision that was done on Lady March. I have nothing against her. I've always been cordial when I've seen her and Mrs. Marvelous Washington. But if this narrative was not carried out, there was something flawed in this case. Flawed. And this what brings us here, right here, today, this evening, and on Monday, and beyond that. When a narrative is given out, it should have, if you didn't feel that you wanted to do the narrative, the council should have been notified, and you all should have discussed this. But if it was taken upon whoever to make a decision, that is wrong. Because you work for the council, and the council works for all the citizens. And it's our tax money, time after time, going through this, and if it could have been done right the first time, we wouldn't be in this mess. And that's what it is. This is deplorable. And for people to come constantly up to this podium and talk about Chair Council Lanier the way they do, you know what? We just have to start having kindness and empathy in our hearts. Because it could be either Mrs. Park, any one of us. So we need to stop this. We need to stop this and have grace for one another. And that's basically all I have to say. Because this needs to stop. We need to have unity in this city. This has to stop. And all this back and forth about Dr. Patel and any other person, this got to stop. We have to unite and be fair and gracious and have empathy. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Mary Graham, Margaret Shepherd, J.B. Dixon.
Let's read this right here. Let's read it. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mary Graham, Riviera Beach. I'm just going to encourage the residents to go out and get vaccine. Ms. Graham has had her booster. I got it on Wednesday, and I'm still standing here. And others followed Ms. Graham as well. I would like to say my condolences goes out to the 4-star general that became the first black chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, Colin Powell. None of you all have mentioned him. That's who should go up to be a symbol for the young men and women that they can rise through the ranks wherever they are. I would just like to say, I'm glad that we do have a city manager, Mr. Jonathan Evans, because if we get them like Tamarack and Delray and other cities that I know that are in chaos and dismissing their managers left and right, thank you for your service. I also would like to say too, see, Reimagine here is on the move here. We are on Channel 5. They have been marketing us. We are also on the Florida 24 News Network. And see what they are saying about Riviera Beach. See what they are saying about the urban farm and other entities that are in our city. They are giving us kudos once and for all. Residents and kids, you got a big lined up for Halloween treats this week. Over at the library, over at the urban farmer, you have so many good treats that are being displayed in the city. So kids and residents, get up and take advantage of it. You just might see Ms. Bram. I say you just might see Ms. Bram. I would just like to say something here. You may not like it. Nobody pays Ms. Bram, so let me clear that up right now. Nobody has ever paid Ms. Bram ever in this city. No board or nobody that's in this city here. My platform is to speak truth to power, whether or not you like it or not. Nobody has to pay Ms. Brown for doing right. I'm going to say this here. I do not fault Lady March. I fault our lead attorney that makes $185,000 a year. Instructions was given here. Here it is here. Ms. Brown do not lie about what she states here. She's responsible for this here chaos with this case here. Now, whether or not she wants to accept that responsibility, it lies on the attorney. She has a 2-year contract. And in this contract here, were any deviation that has been made here, and see here it says here, after a public hearing, a majority of the city council votes to terminate Ms. Wynn for cause because it is reasonable, determined in good faith that there has been continued gross and neglect and willful misconduct. I have nothing against you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
But this is a stain on the city here. Thank you. And I have more to say too, because I do have some written letters. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Margaret Shepherd, J.B. Dixon, Dolores Williams.
Margaret Shepherd, Riviera Beach. No disrespect, Dr. Patel, not at all. But Ms. Miller Anderson, she doesn't speak very much, and she speaks very, very quiet. I guess because she's a school mom. But she said something that really touched me. Closed executive session. And I think we've been through 4. And now I'm listening to you say that you have to pay one of the lawyers $450, and the other one I think is $125. You're senior citizens, and I've been out there trying to help them with their ballots, and the main thing they related to me was that they feel neglected. They feel really neglected. The money's being spent. Some of them still have the blue tarps on. Believe it or not, some of them have water that's very bad in their house, and I've had to take water to them or whatever. And I was just thinking that I have 2 daughters and I think 3 granddaughters. And if I heard their name talked about like what Lady March, I would go into a shudder. In fact, I was just shaking, just listening to her name over and over. Yes, I met her when I go to planning and zoning and get my paperwork. Met a very, very pleasant young lady. And sometimes we get into things and we don't know it's going to blow over like it's blowing over. But it's setting the precedence, it is, in this city. And I can't remember anybody else other than Fane Lozman being attacked like this in council meeting, and it's being aired. I just can't think of a case that is being aired at least every single week. I try not to get into the council business. If they do a 3-2 vote, I'm good with it. I try not to put my 2 cents in, I guess. And so when the seniors are asking me, I try to give them the facts.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Shepherd.
Thank you, Ms. Lanier.
J.B. Dixon, Dolores Williams, William Wiley.
J.B. Dixon, Singer Island and Riviera Beach. I too had something else to say until I sat through listening to everything else, particularly the comments made by people in the audience. I want to make it very clear to Ms. Brown that I do not appreciate being called a girl any more than you would, any more than the city manager appreciated being called a boy by Fane Lozman. So I think if you cannot keep a decent mouth, then you shouldn't be up here speaking. I also wanted to say, having heard many times about the so-called personal vendetta against Lady March, I have never even met Lady March. I don't believe the Councilwoman Botel has. I don't know how either one of us could possibly have a personal vendetta. I was against her being hired. I said so. Why at the time? She was not licensed. I wanted her to be out and to have a licensed person in. Big thing. And there were a number of people on the council, the new council, who agreed with me. And that is what happened. Then she, on her own, gave an illegal permit to Fane Lozman. She was told to take it back. Suddenly she said that one councilwoman who has this personal vendetta got her fired. She was fired because, as far as the record shows, I wasn't there, she disobeyed a direct order from her supervisor. Period. Personal vendettas against someone you don't even know, you have never talked to, you have never so much as said hello to. And people get up here with these sort of half-assed, if you pardon my French, statements. They don't know what they read. They think they heard this. I did not say anything was over, okay? I know exactly what I said. It's in writing. It's on next door. It said the city won 5 counts. Lady March only got $60,000. That was fact, people, fact. Whether you didn't like it or not, whether you would rather say she won when she only won 1 out of 6, that's your privilege to say she won 1. I said congratulations to the city, who was accused of 6 things, and a verdict was found on 1 of them. And I think that most rational people in the United States would agree with my interpretation of who won that suit or not. So, don't call me a girl ever again, okay? And try to be correct in what you say.
Thank you so much, Ms. J.B.
Dolores Williams, William Wiley.
Before I start, I'd like to give...
Williams, can you, speak into the mic, yes, ma'am.
Before I start, I'm gonna give 1 minute.
No, you can't
I
concede
can't
your
do it?
time, you
Okay.
have to use your whole time. Go ahead and, yeah, she started the clock.
She done started the clock.
Please start the clock, let's go.
Restart the clock with me, because, all right. you
All right,
start
go
me.
ahead.
I would like to give a comment on you when you voted against the restaurant. You're the only one up there say no. But I'm here, I hear so much, I've never been to any of these meetings. I saw Monday, 6 o'clock, Friday, 6 o'clock. I never got to one, I just got to this one here tonight. But I feel like whatever it is, I've heard, correct me at the end. They say y'all paid y'all lawyer, was it $200,000 or $600,000? Her lawyer asked for so many of these $1,000. I want y'all to correct me on what y'all have paid y'all lawyers to handle this case, and you're fighting her to get a settlement of $60,000. Now I want to know the answer to that. Mr. Evans, I told you about the child crossing. It was your engineer that told me that, that you say you weren't going to do anything for the school crossing or nothing. I saw they put a sign at the end of my street. The people come off Australian going west. The thing back in a avenue, you can't see it till you come off Martin Luther King Boulevard, and you see it say your speed is 1811. That's not where we need that. I haven't heard from anybody from this council to try to come and get the school stuff. That little kid got hit, went into the windshield, the other kid got killed. Nobody I know have come over and said nothing. Miss Wynn, I'm for you. Miss Botel, I don't know what they're talking about, you reading all that. But I'm here for you. I told you I was with them, you were with them. But I just want to know why you keep dragging on. If you're going to pay, when Mr. Evans first came, y'all voted the thing down from $240,000 for his salary. But you voted down to $200,000. Okay, y'all paying out all this money, so you got to pay this and pay that. Well, pay it. If you paying all these others, pay it. Why you keep dragging it on and on and on? It's a stress. I used to look up on the marquee Monday evening, 6 o'clock. What is this for? Council. Friday evening. What's all this? All these meet. Then you got the Wednesday. What's all these meeting, and you're not doing nothing? It's because it's coming up time for election. You need to stop this mess because you don't want to do this. The imaging, all this plan was brought up 3 years ago. They had the plans and everything was left there. We could bring somebody from the city council, from the city that worked there and knew about it. There's nothing new. Stop coming imaging Channel 5 showing this and Channel 5 showing that. I saw that on the news. But you showing nothing on the west side where these kids getting hit and killed. What are you doing?
Time.
Neighbors, people,
Thank you so much, Ms.
please
Williams.
go out and vote.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams, for your comment.
William Wiley.
Good evening, Council. William Wiley, Riviera Beach. The first thing is my motto for this city is to Riviera Beach first. That's the first thing we need to do is take care of our city and protect our city at all costs. I think what Mrs. Botel did today was actually adequate because the city needs, the people in the city needs to know exactly what was done and what can be done and what should be done to be able to protect this city. We've been hiding things for so long in our city, thinking that no one is going to find out and we can just do whatever we want to do without having any repercussions. I think the public needs to know everything that needs to be said so the public can make their own judgment. I get sick and tired of watching our so-called leaders who want to lead our city but then want to give out bad information, don't want to educate the community. They want to dumb our community down. They don't want to educate them and then actually go through situations like we're going through right now. This is why. This is what we brought in. All right. And the thing is that we have to be careful because what we actually did last term was that we brought in people cut from the same cloth as the people who caused this whole problem. It's the same issue. So the conflict of interest violations, there's no conflict of interest in this situation because the city is our interest. The city is the main thing that we need to do, need to take care of, and actually be here. I'm born and raised here, right? And I'm gonna protect this city at any cost. And I educate the kids in our community. I educate the adults in our community. And I'm gonna be here to fight for our people in our community forever. Now, anyone who's saying that the money that we're spending right now is a waste of time, it doesn't make any sense because any money that we're spending right now, like Ms. Lanier said, it's gonna cost us in the future. I'm an economics major. I have a master's degree in it. It's gonna cost us in the future because if we do something today and make a decision, just because we want our friend to make some money, what's gonna happen is 5 years from now, someone's gonna come back and file on discrimination that we allowed this today and we didn't allow it for them. And they're going to come in, and not only are we going to lose $60,000, like she said, we're going to lose $500,000. We're going to lose $1 million. We're going to lose more and more money every time because everyone will be coming out saying the same thing over and over again. We have to educate ourselves, city. We brought Mr. Evans back because we wanted this to be reimagined like he wants to do, right? But we have to do this with the right people and the right ethics. We would not be here, like Ms. Brown said, if the directives were followed in the beginning. They were not followed. So at that point, rather, what do we do? As a city council, I think you should know what to do. You actually know what to do. But we do know certain people are not going to do the right things. We understand that part. And that's the disgusting part of this whole thing, that we need the right people in positions to do the right things. This is not personal.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wiley.
Madam Chair, members of the board, earlier I called the card for Commissioner Dale Holman. What's the pleasure of the board?
What happened?
She did fold it. I said, did she fold Dale?
Oh, 3 minutes. 3 minutes, go ahead. Go ahead, 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, Mayor, council members, thank you for the opportunity to say a couple of words here. Certainly, a city such as Riviera Beach has to pay attention to its finances. It's critical. But I believe that because of the situation that exists here, where you have a lot of needs, where the income level of the people that live here are much lower than elsewhere, that there could be resources that could be drawn down. I'm speaking specifically beyond the fact that you now have earmarking back, which a member of the congressional delegation could actually earmark money for specific things within the district. I'm speaking more to the Opportunity Zone Act that I know largely covers a great portion of Riviera Beach. That act today allows for investors who have capital gains to invest in these communities and have no taxation for those capital gains. That could be further enhanced to ensure that there are direct federal dollars coming into these communities to enhance your infrastructure, to add to training programs, to add to healthcare, education, so that these communities can be lifted up and not just solely depend or wait for an investor to come in and invest, but you could have direct allocation from the federal government. I think that's something that needs to be done. There's conversation already in place in the U.S. Congress to expand the number of opportunity zones that exist, mostly being brought forth by Republicans who want to see more of it put in rural areas that they represent. I think there's an opportunity there to enhance these opportunity zones to ensure that more direct federal government dollars is put in place to help a community like Riviera Beach get to the place where the poverty and the unemployment level is reduced, the need for additional dollars for infrastructure and upgrades is put in place. That's something I think that you all could probably be looking to advocate for on behalf of the people of Riviera Beach. Certainly I will be advocating for that, and I've been advocating for it for some time. The Opportunity Zone Act also have another flaw in that there's no requirement in the act that the people who live in these opportunity zones get any of these jobs. There's nothing that says there's a goal or a requirement for these people who are to be lifted up. We will depend on the goodwill of those who create these enterprises to hire. Further, the businesses in these communities ought to be given technical support and greater access to capital so that they may capture the opportunities that will be created when these enterprises are built within these communities. I thank you for allowing me this few moments.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Bishop Masters, for guiding me through.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
sir.
to all of you for your service to our community.
We will have, now we will have discussion by the city manager, city attorney,
No, thank you.
statements by the mayor and city council. We'll start with the mayor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of comments. Madam Clerk, how did this meeting get put in this place tonight?
Madam Chair, it is my understanding that upon checking with the event center, it was not available for us to be hold the meeting there. So there was a search for other facilities that was city facilities to see what was available, and this was the location that was available.
Okay, and I want to put that on record because I called a special meeting, and the same thing happened, and some concerned residents came up and spoke about it. I didn't see them tonight. Second, I want to address, resident talked about grace, and I definitely agree that grace is sufficient for everyone. If you check my lifestyle, it's built with much grace, but I don't think we can pick and choose who to have grace upon. Some of us up here are going through some stuff, have been through some stuff, right? And I think when we pick and choose, because a lot of stuff that we're going through, it comes from people that's not extending the grace. I think we should, really look at that. We're talking about healing our community. I think we're so far from that because we pick and choose who side we're on or who we're with. So, we really, this whole case is going to bring out, whether or not people say it's personal vendetta or whatever, Madam Chair, I'm trying to talk.
No crosstalk, please, in the audience.
This city needs a healing, but it's not going to be healed until we put away our personal vendettas against whoever it may be against. You have somebody coming at our city attorney who has done a marvelous job. And I would fight, because one thing I know, I'm in senior houses every day. One senior say it's blue tarps. And we got a program right now that we're fixing some stuff right now and playing in zoning to get some seniors' roofs. And I'm in these seniors' houses, and I'm in our young folks' houses. And a lot of people that's coming up and don't speak for the majority. And I want our community to know that. A lot of people in our community, when you spend one-on-one time with them and you're going out and you're making sure that they're having their daily necessities of what they need, they're upset with what's going on, but don't think that everybody that comes to this mic is speaking for this community. Right. Because there's a lot of people, they want change, and they know who's really out there helping them, so don't get bamboozled by everybody that comes to the mic. But real grace, Douglas Lawson needed grace. I seen some people coming up slamming him. There was no grace offered to him. So just remember, it could be you tomorrow. Right. All right? And so just watch. I have a saying, what goes around comes around. If you intentionally do evil, you're intentionally coming up here with that stuff, it'll come back on you. Mm-hmm. So be careful. If you really want to heal, man, put all that stuff aside and let's get together. Let's move the city forward. But I can tell you what, I don't believe anybody up here is intentionally doing anything like it's comments like, the last count. So ain't nobody up here doing that. These people up here really care about this city. They're really working for this city. So just because you may not feel like that and you got a personal thing, you want to be up here or whatever, do it on your own. Don't come up here bashing us. Just be your own person and get out there and do what you got to do, and people come vote for you. But everybody don't speak for us that comes to this mic. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Lawson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make two quick announcements. Residents that are watching tonight, please make sure you try to get out to Trunk or Treat. We'll be there till about 8 p.m. tonight. Our police department did a wonderful job in putting this together, and if you can get there tonight, some of my colleagues will be attending as well. Tomorrow, the city of Riviera Beach is going to be hosting the Pop Warner Championship over at Dan Calloway Tate's Gym. It's going to start at 10 a.m. and it's going to run until about 4 p.m. There'll be teams from all over Palm Beach County participating, and I believe our Riviera Beach Chargers will be in the championship game at 12 noon, the 12U team. So please make sure that you get out there and support Riviera Beach Chargers at the championship game. And last thing, please get out and vote. Get out and vote early. Sunday's the last time or the last day for early voting. We have an early voting site right at Wells, and we're also going to have a vaccination site where they have all of the vaccination available at Wells. So please go out and vote, get vaccinated. Have a great weekend. Be safe, residents. Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCoy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question. I have a couple questions, and I'm going to say this very cautiously. Ms. Nguyen, are you at liberty to speak as to why we've retained Ward Damon, or would that be, I guess, a stretch?
No, we retained Ward Damon to look at our options regarding filing an appeal.
Okay, can you answer this question without it being something that's compromising? Is there an answer to why Mr. Don Stevens can no longer carry this?
Mr. Stevens stated that he thought that ethically he didn't think that there was a basis, and therefore he could not represent us on an appeal. He will be at your closed session, and you can ask him again.
Follow up again.
Go ahead.
So the purpose that I'm asking you, because it was suggested by one of the speakers, and even I see it in the letter here by Dr. Botel, that the decision to appeal was a clear directive from City Council. Failure to carry out that directive constitutes a violation of your contract. At any time, was the directive or the vote for you to actually file the appeal, or direct counsel to file the appeal? Or look at options of appeal?
I view filing a Rule 60 motion to overturn the verdict and filing an appeal as two separate matters, because they involve a different level of expenditures. And so I don't believe that direction was given.
Let me back up, because that's not the question that I was asking. The motion, was it for you individually to file the appeal or seek for options, or was it for the council to do that? Because I'm trying to understand, is this something that was your responsibility or a directive to direct our outside counsel to do?
To direct outside counsel is my understanding, yes.
Okay, so, I mean, this suggestion that there's some wrongdoing, I mean, quite frankly, I wanted the attorney to bring up the fact that when asked, Mr. Stevens indicated that he had an ethical conflict as to why he could not. Hence why we went and retained Ward Damon, and not through any fault of the city attorney. So to suggest that for some reason she didn't do it and it was deliberate, and to have the threat of some sort of violation of the contract is outright wrong, and I think that's a bit of a stretch. And we put these things out here. Clearly, I know we've gotten a number of confidential emails, but to hear the suggestion that there was some violation by the attorney, I mean, the attorney can do what she's directed to do. And in this case, it wasn't to file an appeal, it was to ask our attorney to do it, which he said he has an ethical conflict. So I just want to make sure that that's straight, because I can see that we're going down this road of people suggesting that there was some wrongdoing, and I want to be the first to be fair, irrespective of what, people may believe, but, don't stretch the truth to say that we directed our attorney to do anything. We directed her to reach to outside counsel, and if outside counsel can't do it, then we have to go back and revisit our options. So I just wanted to make sure that that's clear, and then this letter, clearly, I think, Madam Chair?
No crosstalk, please.
It's so annoying, because it's quite difficult to even hear myself, but I just don't like that we are starting down this road that there was something that wasn't followed through. And if it is, there's avenues to address it, but the suggestion that that didn't happen, Dr. Botel, I can respectfully say I don't think that was the directive. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Botel?
Yes. Earlier, well, let's see, was it today or yesterday, in conversation, you mentioned to me that we had been told that we could have the transcripts. I don't recall actually being told that we could have the transcripts, but in any case, I asked you to provide them to counsel. Would you be doing that? I'd really like to have the transcripts of the trial.
We can discuss that in closed session, Dr. Botel.
Okay. You also said that you would, I would like to have Mr. Steve, well, all right, there are other things that I need to discuss in closed session, but one thing that I do want to ask right now is, do we have any other options with regard to using Ward Damon? I don't have a great deal of confidence in their willingness to work with us and to follow out this council's directives, given that we were told that the time to file an appeal was gone, and we know that's not true. Now, I know you said she was going to look into it, but in my mind, that's something that an attorney should be able to answer without having to look into something. So in any case, I'm wondering if we can have a list of other appellate attorneys that we might consider. And we can discuss that in closed session as well. And I have nothing else.
Thank you.
Oh, I do. I'm so sorry. I do have something else. Wait, I'm sorry. I want to commend our city manager on becoming president of the Palm Beach County City Managers Association. I'd be so remiss if I didn't get that in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Miller Allison?
Nothing other than to restate what Mr. Lawson said about the trunk or treat. I went and bought a costume, and I am going to use my costume, okay? I'm a ninja, and I try not to use my moves up here, so I was trying to tell y'all, let's get it going, but no, make sure everybody come out. You know, I know we all are usually dressed and out there and participating, so I do want to get at least 30 minutes out there. I mean, I can't take it back, so thank you.
My costume takes 30 minutes to put on. You see it, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get
But
there.
no, and everybody stay safe too, and go to the other activities that they're having over at the library and the urban farm. But
Yes, this weekend is a busy one.
Very busy weekend with good stuff, so enjoy.
Thank you. And with that, our meeting is adjourned.
Yeah, that's why. I guess we didn't have it.
We got to do that because of COVID. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
I know that is. I know. I bought
I know, it's okay. He wasn't one of my. Good luck to you. Almost done.